This is the round ahead. Thanks to Gabelich, Sarah Olle back with Chad Wingard and Josh Gabelich. Guys, just 4 rounds left of the home and away season.
Business end.
It's getting to the business end, absolutely. So let's bring up the round 21 fixture. It kicks off on Thursday night at Marvel Stadium. The Dogs and the Giants, then over to the Crows and the Hawks. 2 crackers to start before we head to Marvel for the D's and the Eagles. Up to people first for the Suns and the Tigers. The Swans and the Bombers, a beautiful 4:15 time slot at the SCG if you don't mind. And then on Saturday night, a big one, the Pies and the Lions. On Sunday, we begin with the Roos and Saints at Marvel Stadium, then down the highway, Geelong and Port Adelaide. And we conclude out west, Fremantle and Carlton. But we begin with Thursday night footy. Thanks to Coles, we head to Marvel Stadium for the Western Bulldogs and the Giants. Josh, the Dogs have a formidable record against their opponents. They've won 8 of the past 9 games, and it's going to be easier to continue this streak given some of the key outs to the Giants.
Definitely, Sarah. I mean, when you consider Adam Kingsley had almost every player to pick from last weekend. Brent Daniels was the only one missing from his best 23. 3 come out after the Sydney derby, with Toby Green accepting that 1-game suspension for striking Isaac Heaney. But there are 2 other really big losses when you consider how important Jack Buckley has been down back, especially when you consider the form of Aaron Norton and Sam Darcy. And Josh Kelly just hasn't been able to stay on the park consistently this year. He's going to miss the rest of the home and away season too, both out with calf strains. So 3 important players come out.
It means the role of Finn Callaghan, Chad, for the Giants is going to be even more important. We saw last week against Sydney, particularly in that third term. He just put his team on his back. Given the Dogs' formidable midfield, we've got Bontempelli, Ed Richards and Libba. His role is going to be important yet again, isn't it?
Yeah, and you see he's got both shoulders strapped there. They're going to need to be strapped even tighter to put the team on his shoulders again. He's been the shining light, if you think about GWS in their midfield. They're 15th in total clearances and 16th in hitouts, because obviously Briggs is not having his best year. But he's been the shining light, 10th in disposals in the competition. And like I said, the depth of their midfield is not quite as good as, definitely not as good as Western Bulldogs, but he's going to have to step up big time this week.
I like the inclusion of Sam Darcy since round 14. I think the whole competition's loving seeing the big man back in action. But I would say no one's loving it more, Josh, than his teammate in Aaron Norton. Since round 14, his numbers, they have skyrocketed.
Oh, they certainly have, Sarah. Have a look at these numbers. I mean, apart from Jeremy Cameron, these 2 are number 2 and 3 in the comp for goals kicked. Aaron Norton's kicked 26 goals in the past 7 weeks. That's the best patch in his entire career. He's now up to 45 for the year, averaging just under 2.5 per game. Sam Darcy's kicked 24 in the same time. They're number 1 and 2 for contested marks, and both top 4 when you look at marks inside 50. So if they're going to get to September, it could be these 2. That is their point of difference. I know down back they've got concerns, but such a big advantage having these 2 weapons inside 50.
And certainly fun to watch. So if you need another excuse to get down to Marvel Stadium, here it is. Scan the barcode there because you can bring a friend for free. Josh, I think you're working, so Chad, you can come along with me. But if you can't get down to the game, the best thing is to watch it and watch Thursday night for a Coles goal and an exclusive Coles app offer. Let's get to Friday night's blockbuster though at Adelaide Oval. The Crows and the Hawks. This is set to be an absolute beauty. We will get to the Crows forward line in a little bit, Josh, because they are completely set there with their 3-headed monster. The same can't be said for the Hawks though. It's just 4 rounds to go. Time to stop getting cute. Sam Mitchell needs to work out this forward line. Is Marbior Chol getting a look this week?
Well, for the first time, Sarah, this is going to be a heated discussion you'd imagine at Match Committee. I'd love to be inside that room at Waverley Park because Marbior Chol is available this week. Missed the past fortnight, of course, with a groin issue. And in that time, Mitch Lewis has come back from that knee reconstruction. He was subbed out of his return game. But last Thursday night against Carlton, he really showed the sort of player that they expect him to be. I mean, he was awesome against Carlton. Cal Shadir was even better.
Wasn't he?
I mean, Cal Shadir's 3 games back in this side have shown the growth that he's made at VFL level in his 2nd season. Jack Gunston's not going anywhere, so the forward mix is going to be a debate, Chad, that we go through for the best part of the rest of the season.
Yeah, I agree, and it's a good problem to have, but again, Like, who is it going to be? I'm not sure, but I love the mix every week that whoever's in is impacting. That's the most important thing.
I think Marby Ochoa being out of the side makes it harder for him to get back in this Friday night.
It's tricky indeed. But let's have a look over at this graphic, because taming the three-headed monster is going to be a big job for Hawthorn's backline. Riley Thilthorpe, Taylor Walker, Darcy Fogarty. Matthew Nix has had these three set pretty much all season, Chad. It is a big task for the Hawks backline. I've got to say it helps though when the skipper, James Sicily, is back in form.
Yeah, talk about timing it. He's been unbelievable since his return, and the last 2 weeks in particular. You see his stats, it's just improved. His disposals, his spoils, his marks, intercepts as well. It's all gone up dramatically, and you think about that's his game. That's where he's at his best, and that's when he impacts the game. And he's been a leader on and off the field, and I think, yeah, like I said, being back from injury, he's been superb, Josh.
He certainly has. He's got his intercept game back, as you touched on. He's leading the competition across the past fortnight in intercept possessions. 12 down in Tassie in the wet, 14 last Thursday night. He's dictating terms again, which is what you want to see. And I think their back six as a whole is starting to really gel now. They made big moves in October by bringing in two big names in Josh Battle as a free agent and Tom Barrass. That was a huge trade. It's taken a little bit of time for them to completely click, but I think again last week we saw the value of Josh Battle. I think his form's gone under the radar a little bit. He spent 100 minutes on Charlie Curnow. It kept him to 1 goal, kept him to 2 marks. Really did allow Tom Barrass to play his intercept game. And when you think about Barrass and his history, durability's been the question on him. Never played more than 19 games in a season. Well, he's played 18 of the first 19, so he's almost there. Are you liking what you're seeing with that pairing?
I love what I see with that pairing. I think Barrass especially, think about he's 5th in the comp for intercept marks. Like you just said, he's 4th in the competition for contested marks. And he's 8th in spoils, which shows that he's either spoiling it or marking it on opposition's kicks. So he's been super important. I think he's a one for the Crows to make sure they don't put him down the line, because he's going to impact that game. Another thing for Battle, which I really love, is Battle, Amon and Impey are in top 12 for tackles inside forward 50.
Pressure.
Defensive 50. So they're just really good defensively, really solid.
They're going to have to bring the pressure again, because this three-headed monster, Thilthorpe, Walker and Darcy Fogarty, we saw even last week in the wet, these three big men were so immense, Josh, in that forward line. And that man with the beard, oof, I think he's going to have a big role to play come September.
I think so, and amazing to see how he performed in those difficult conditions. He won the showdown medal, kicked 3 goals, had 19 disposals. Chad, he's now up to 44 goals for the year. It feels like he's the man, aside from Jeremy Cameron, in that All-Australian team. Usually we have 3, always have 2 key forwards, probably 3. It feels like he's the second best key forward in the comp, and they're still getting so much out of Darcy Fogarty and Taylor Walker.
Yeah, and I think the three of them, the three-headed monster, I think what helps them is that they have a dual threat. So they're all great in the air and they're all great on the deck. And you don't normally say that about tools. I think they're the most versatile group of forwards that I've seen in this competition.
So from one cracking match at Adelaide Oval to another on Saturday night at the MCG, Collingwood and the Brisbane Lions. I think for mine, this one could be game of the round. And when it comes to Craig McRae at selection this week, Josh, some food for thought, because 2 premiership pies, well, they absolutely start in the VFL at the weekend.
Well, he's got one forced change, Sarah, and that is Lockie Sullivan. He, unfortunately, is out for the rest of the year with a PCL injury. He played the last 10 games. He become a regular fixture. So that's one change. The question will be, will Jordan De Goey come straight back in?
What do you think?
I think he might need one more, but they might have seen enough. This is him playing last Saturday night in Frankston, first VFL game in a decade, first game at any level this year since round 8, and got through 70% game time, which was the plan. And he, amazingly, how's this for a story, Chad? He went head-to-head for a lot of the night against the guy that works in the sales team at the Collingwood Football Club. Tom Blamires is his name. And Tom Blamires had 44 disposals. I dare say he walked in on Monday morning and he was considered in a very different light to when he walked out of that club on Friday. I think Bobby Hill comes back in. Sarah kicked 3 goals, just needed to get back, get some game time in. Jeremy Howe's not going to come back in. He needs another week after being sick last week, so the groin injury not quite ready yet. But there are changes coming, and we are entering August, and I think this midfield mix is going to look a little bit different with Pendlebury coming back in as well.
There won't be a change, though, with Nick Dacos. He continues to go from strength to strength, coming off 42 disposals and 3 goals, if you don't mind, last week against Richmond. And we can see since round 15, Chad, he is in serious form. And right now, probably the leading contender for the Brownlow medal this year.
Yeah, definitely. In terms of the impact he's having, what I love is that he's able to go forward and kick goals now. I wouldn't say that's a strength of his, but averaging 1.2 over those course of games, like he's really showing a different side of his. He's actually taken a couple of contested marks, which has been a knock on him. And I really like the way that wherever he goes, he's making an impact. And like he's a superstar of the competition. He's getting attention from everyone every week. But Josh, he's again, what can you say about what can you say wrong about this kid? He's been unbelievable.
Well, first player ever to have 40 plus, 800 plus metres gained and kick 3 plus in a game. First player ever to do that. It summed up how good that game was. I actually think this performance went under the radar a little bit because of what happened at Marvel Stadium and the individual brilliance of Nazai Wanganeen-Milera. But I was at the MCG and I think that is, if not Nick Dacos' best ever game, it's top 3. He was that good. It wasn't a inflated 42, Sarah. He was unbelievable with every disposal.
But just a reminder to other teams, like go and tag him. Richmond just let him run free. It was an amazing performance, but I reckon he'll have someone sitting on his backside this week. When it comes to Brisbane, their run home gets a little bit trickier. They've been pretty good away from the Gabba. They've only lost twice on the road this year. But when you look at their run home, so it's Collingwood, Sydney, Fremantle and Hawthorn. It's a trickier run, isn't it? And that top 4 spot in a home final, I think, Josh, it's in a little bit of jeopardy now.
Well, Sarah, it could go down to that round 24 clash against Hawthorn at the Gabba. I mean, that round 24 looms, Chad, as a beauty when you consider some of those matchups. The Western Bulldogs have got Fremantle in that game as well. But it is a tough run home when you consider... I always thought set and forget they're going to finish top 4 a month ago.
Yeah, but I think they would see their finals campaign last year, that they're going to be battle tested. So I think they're going to have that mental switch that, yep, we're going to be tested going to the finals. Some teams like Geelong, for instance, are just going to walk into the finals. Is that a better prep? I don't think it is. I think the prep for Brisbane is that they're going to come into finals ready to go, coming up against some of the best sides.
Now, speaking of prep, you two get up to the screen and get yourselves ready because I'm looking forward to seeing what the pairing at halfback of Dane Zorko and Jasper Fletcher can do on the big stage of the MCG against the Pies. These are two blokes kind of at either side of their career, I should say, Josh, but both so pivotal to how the Lions move the ball.
Absolutely, Sarah. Never have halfbacks been more valuable than they are in 2025. Every club has a gun. Yep. Most have a star, but this group of players here, they're a pair. And that's the topic of our discussion today because we are looking at the best halfback pairings in the competition. Collingwood have 2 All-Australians. One was on a wing in Josh Dacos, who's in contention this year for a Blazer. They recruited Dan Houston last year, who's a 2-time All-Australian halfback. But I love the pair at Brisbane, Chad, because it's a youth of blend and experience.
Yes, master and an apprentice. There's 15 years age gap, would you believe, between these two players. And Zorko's obviously 36 years old, played every single game this year. At that age has been super impressive. And think about Fletcher, since his debut, he has not missed. So their durability between these two has been super impressive. And like I said, it's one to watch going forward with Fletcher. He's a superstar.
Now, Dane Zorko is a 2-time All-Australian, but by the end of August, he could be a 2-timer as a defender. He's going that well at the age of 36. Now, everyone loves the St Kilda pairing. They've been amazing for the last few years. Jack Sinclair is a 2-time All-Australian. Nazai should be an All-Australian by the end of next month. Where do they rank in terms of the best halfback pairings of the comp?
Yeah, well, the stats would say that they would be number 1. You think about disposals, metres, gains, score involvements, all the supposed signs that points towards...
Sizzle?
The sizzle is really good. So their offensive side is probably the best in the competition. I'll give them that. And they're like super reliable. They get a job done. And as a duo, they're averaging nearly 30 disposals each. So they're unbelievable to watch at the moment. So
damaging, that pair. Now, Gold Coast, they got to work last off-season. They went and bought a couple of gun halfbacks. We've seen what John Noble and Dan Rioli have done to the way they move the ball this year. But I want to talk about another expansion club because Lockie Whitfield has been the best halfback across the past decade. Lockie Ash is coming, but it feels, Chad, that they're a bit out of sight, out of mind in Western Sydney.
Yes, and I couldn't agree more. This is my number 1 duo. And I know you're saying, oh, what about Naz? The reasons why, halfbackers got to defend as well. And they're conceding the least amount of goals out of this duo. So 7 fewer than St Kilda. That's the reason. And they've still got their offensive game. They're both averaging 28 disposals, setting up their teams. But their lockdown defence is what sets them apart.
Off Broadway, but he doesn't miss them.
The sizzle. What's the sizzle? You were big on that.
What's the sizzle?
Yeah,
is the run
sizzle?
And gun, the damage by foot. I mean, Nazai and Jack Sinclair have been cutting opposition.
Yeah. He has gone more in the middle as well, so that's why I'm giving a little bit of slack to GWS.
Well, plenty of sizzle from you two, but you get back down here onto the desk with me. Thank you very much. We'll head to Marvel Stadium where it's going to be St Kilda and North Melbourne, and we just spoke about the man, Nazai Wanganeen-Milera. What a performance, 4 goals, 34 disposals, a set play for the ages. And then how about this? He even got on his coach Ross Lyon's shoulders at Hotel Brighton. It was popping off, Josh. Were you there?
I was certainly not there, but this was pre-planned. I mean, they do it 4 or 5 times a year where they lock in.
Look fun.
At three-quarter time, I don't think many were going to turn up, but everything changed in that final 30 minutes, of course.
So pre-planned that we get on Ross the boss's shoulders.
I don't think that was pre-planned. I don't think that was pre-planned.
How great is that? It just shows how close they are as a group.
Absolutely.
I was lucky it was Nazire and not one of the ruckmen because that
Well,
would have
Ron
been
Marshall
a
did
bigger
try
load
and
to
get up
carry.
there.
Yeah, that would have been much harder indeed. I mean, we've spoken about Nazire, who is the man, and rightfully so, but there was another Saint, Josh, late in that game, in the final term, who really took things on too, and I refer to Max Hall. He was sensational.
You and I love him. We
do.
love Max Hall. He's starting to get the credit he deserves. Chad, this is a guy that is the number 2 rated player in the comp across the last 6 rounds. Let that sink in. It's Riley Thilthorpe ahead of him, Max Hall number 2. And his last quarter is all impact. He is all damage. He's not an accumulator. He had 7 disposals, 6 of them became score involvements, 2 of them goal assists. He finished with 5 goal assists for the night. It's the most by a St Kilda player since 2017, and it's led to him locking in a 2-year deal all in the space of a month. They hadn't offered him anything 4 weeks ago, and all of a sudden he's going to be there. And this guy's got such a great story because at the age of 22, he was toiling away at Box Hill at the start of last year. St Kilda took him in the mid-season rookie draft. He had a back issue when he arrived at the club, took the pre-season to get going, made his debut in round 1, kicked 2 goals on debut, and has just gone from strength to strength all season long, Sarah.
Certainly a player to keep watching if you are a Saints fan in this last month of footy. But we've got to back over Nazire and that incredible goal. It got us thinking. There have been some really incredible comebacks and incredible kicks after the siren to win matches. We've put a caveat on it. We've just gone this century, so here is your top 5.
Long kick forward, looking for Pavlich in the pack. He goes. Longview has taken a screamer. This will be a kick after the siren to possibly put Fremantle into the finals. In comes Longview to take his kick. Ice cool. Fremantle have won after the siren. That. Selwood about 70 metres out, sends it long down towards full forward. Naitanui! Oh, Naitanui held all week at the very last gasp. And he's put it through. Eagles win. High fives all round.
Thumps a long one. Elliott takes the mark. There's the siren. Arms in the air. That has gone through. Jamie Elliott has won the game of footy for this famous club.
The season down to this. Extra time. Shuey taken high by Polak. Free kick for Luke Shuey to send the West Coast Eagles on in season 2017. He's kicked a goal. The Eagles have won.
Yo, and now Black has been so instrumental. About to be hunted down, didn't panic. It was a great kick. Patfull in the centre. We're down to 9 seconds. And it's a mark. He's got to get up, Adcock. Had to give to anybody. It's Zorko. Got a mark and he's got it. The milestone man. You can't dream these scenarios. Ash McGrath comes in. It's on its way. It's there. The miracle on grass.
Oh, what a moment. And Dane Zorko actually delivering the pill to Ash McGrath there in his milestone game. I mean, he's been around for a while, Dane Zorko, it shows. But, sorry, Chad, we had to play the Luke Shuey goal extra time after the siren in a final.
Away from home.
Yeah, bugger.
Special kick. What do you remember about that?
Oh, I remember that I had a drug test after the game.
Oh.
And so after an overtime game,
Yep.
and then on my way home, I got a pulled over from the cops, another drug test.
Oh, nice.
Asada and the
Asada and then
South
the
Australian police.
And I said, my day couldn't get any worse.
You're running double, yeah.
Let me get home and enjoy my misery.
Where would Nazire's goal after the siren fit? Because I think you've got to take the narrative in, 46 points down, and then, of course, he orchestrates that set play with Bro Marshall.
For me, it's the 2 goals as well. So unlike those other moments, he kicked the last 2 goals of the game inside the last
Freak.
Quite incredible.
Yeah, I agree. I'm happy to put it there instead of the shoey if you don't mind.
Absolutely. That's a
Maybe
final.
next time we'll let you stew on that one. But let's get to People First Stadium, where it's Gold Coast Suns up against Richmond. Remember earlier in the year, Dimmer lost at his not-so-favourite stadium, Marvel, against his former side. So he'll be looking to get the wood over the Tigers this time around. And Josh, what I was so impressed by the Suns last week was that Jai Farah and Alex Davies, these two, I guess, players who are lurking in the wings, they've come in for their first game of the season and had such an impact.
Well, they've never been known for their depth, have they, Sarah, at the Gold Coast Suns? And suddenly they have it. I mean, if you looked at selection last week, massive statement made with 4 players dropped, including Jed Walter and Dave Swallow. They brought in a real edge, and Alex Davies delivered. First game of the year, 30 disposals, 10 tackles. There's a reason why clubs are trying to pry him out of there. They see him as an inside mid that they can get. And Jai Farah hadn't played under Damien Hardwick, hadn't played for more than 2 years at AFL level. To come in these conditions and kick 3 in the wet, crucial performance.
It's so crucial heading into September as well, to keep that pressure on. The Tigers won't be in September action, but we've been singing their praises all season, Chad, particularly with some of the younger stars. But how about an older one? Nick Vlosten. We're loving what he's doing as well. Potentially a sneaky All-Australian. He's never received that blazer.
Which is crazy because I think he's the opponent that I used to hate getting. And you think about how important he's been for them this year. He's 7th in the competition for intercept marks, 2nd in comps for defensive 50 tackles. So he's getting it done in the air and on the ground. And 7th for the rebound 50 as well. So you just think about some of the impact he's had. And he's been a real leader back there.
Yes.
And the ball that's coming in there pretty quickly and pretty strongly. He's just getting the job done, and he's really lifting and teaching the players. From all rapport, he's been a real leader back there and teaching young guys. So for me, I would love to see him get that nod because he's been super important for him.
Let's get to GMHBA Stadium, where the Cats will host the Power. Hopefully Port Adelaide have a better start than last week, because unfortunately Miles Bergman, he forgot which way his side was kicking, and it did prompt a little memory for you, Chad, because you've got experience in this department.
Yes, team, I'm glad you brought this up. So we're going to go back to 2011, my under-18s day. I was captain. We don't have the footage, unfortunately, or fortunately for me, but I won the toss and pointed one direction, went back to the group, give them a pump-up speech, told them that we're going the opposite direction. So our forwards are on the forwards, defenders are locking arms, and against Queensland, my first time captaining a side, they've kicked the first 2 goals. So
What a disaster.
if you think that's bad for Bergman, don't worry, mate. We've all been there, or I've been there. And it's really
We haven't all been there.
I'm glad we haven't got the footage because it's pretty embarrassing.
Did you go on to win, play well?
Yeah, we won by 10. I was best on,
it's
so
all right.
it's all right.
Just giving them a head start. Let's go out west, where at Optus Stadium it's going to be the Dockers and the Blues, and we are singing the praises of one Hayden Young, who in the last fortnight, Josh, has just reminded the competition that he can really move the needle for this Fremantle side, looking for a flag under Justin Longmuir. He was sensational last week, and this was on 57% game time, 3 goals and 23 disposals.
Incredible to think, Sarah, that he won the Glendenning Allen medal by playing 57%
Wild.
of the game. I love that the algorithm is in play when it comes to that voting. Now, look at the management of it. This guy's coming off 2 serious hamstring injuries this year, had hamstring surgery after round 8, managed him really well.
Yep.
Sub against Collingwood, made the trip across, came on, had a massive impact with 11 disposals in that final quarter. And then to do what he did in the Derby, I mean, this guy is going to be primed for September when you think how he's going. And Chad, he's not the only one that I'm really enjoying at Fremantle of late. I think the Rising Star field is starting to really thicken, and there are some clear favourites now at the top.
Yeah, and we spoke about this only a few weeks ago. And Murphy Reid, again, was my pick at that stage, and he's really lifted since. I think on the weekend he had 23 disposals, 1 goal, 3 goal assists, 15 score involvements on the
15.
weekend. The youngest player with 6 or more score assists ever, adding to the case of his rising star. And he's one of the players in the hardest position, I believe, to start in early in a small forward, but he's been remarkable.
Yeah, agreed with that. Dan Curtin, probably the favourite, the overwhelming favourite at the moment.
Levi Ashcroft too.
Yeah.
It's nice that there's going to be 3 real contenders there. Harry O'Farrell for the Blues, Chad. He's been a bit of a silver lining for them, hasn't he, in defence? And he's coming off probably a career best game last week against Hawthorn.
It's amazing to think that this kid's 19 years old. 197 centimetres, and you think about their team structure at the moment. You've got Nick Haynes, who's 33 years old. I think Carlton may have found their next cornerstone in defence. He had 19 disposals, 8 spoils, which is second most for the game. game, 4 marks off Oppo's kicks, which was most for Carlton. And I think he only conceded 1 goal against, considering how many Hawthorn put on in the end. So gets it done on both ends. I really love what I'm seeing from him,
Robbed of the Rising Star.
Robbed.
Domination, I think. And don't forget, now, Carlton supporters have been filthy about losing Matt Kennedy in the form that he's produced at the Western Bulldogs. Well, that was the pick they got for trading Matt Kennedy on deadline day.
I like that from you, Joshua. The other 2 games this weekend, Melbourne and West Coast at Marvel Stadium, and the Swans and the Bombers at the SCG. In a sentence, Chad, why would you watch the D's and the Eagles? What are you looking for?
How both teams respond.
Nice.
Not with the win, but just how they respond.
And the Swans and the Dons, Josh, give me a reason to have a watch.
Well, I know you'll be watching for Errol Goulden and game 100. What a return to form since coming back from that broken leg.
Probably a future captain as well. That's been the round ahead. Thanks to Coles. Enjoy the footy, and we'll see you again next week.